The moment our eyes met across that polished mahogany desk, time collapsed. 12 years vanished in an instant. There she sat, Eliza Chen, the same warm brown eyes that once looked at me with such tenderness, now widened in professional shock. My resume trembled in her hands. The woman who broke my heart in college was about to decide my professional future. If you've ever felt your past and present collide in the worst possible moment, stay with me. This story might just help you believe that sometimes, life's cruelest coincidences lead to our greatest second chances. If you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more real-life dramas that remind us how unpredictable life can be. My name is Daniel Reeves, and until that Tuesday morning, I thought I had my life figured out. At 34, I was interviewing for a creative director position at Horizon Media, one of the fastest-growing advertising agencies in Seattle. After a brutal layoff from my previous job and 6 months of rejections, this interview was everything: my shot at financial stability, professional redemption, and maybe even a reason to finally unpack the moving boxes that had been sitting in my apartment since I'd moved back to the city. I arrived 40 minutes early, my portfolio polished to perfection. The receptionist, a cheerful woman named Tara with electric blue hair, offered me coffee while I waited. "Nervous?" she asked, noticing my leg bouncing uncontrollably. "That obvious?" I laughed, accepting the steaming mug. "Big opportunity." "You'll do great," she assured me. "Just don't mention Star Wars to Ms. Chen. She's more of a Star Trek person." I nearly choked on my coffee. "Ms. Chen?" "Eliza Chen, our executive creative director. She'll be interviewing you today." The mug nearly slipped from my fingers. "Eliza Chen is conducting the interview?" Tara nodded, eyebrows raised at my reaction. "Is that a problem?" "No," I lied, my voice suddenly hoarse. "No problem at all." But it was a problem. A massive, universe-altering problem. Eliza Chen. The girl who taught me how to properly drink whiskey. The girl who could recite Pablo Neruda poems from memory. The girl who held my hand through my mother's cancer treatments during sophomore year. The girl who left for a semester abroad in Paris and returned with a French boyfriend and an apologetic letter explaining why we couldn't be together anymore. I hadn't seen her since graduation day, when we'd exchanged awkward congratulations before walking in opposite directions. I'd heard through mutual friends that she'd moved to New York, then Chicago. Never Seattle. Never my city. Yet here she was, about to judge my professional worth. I considered bolting, making up some emergency, rescheduling, or simply disappearing into the rainy Seattle morning. But 6 months of unemployment had left me with more pride than options. I needed this job. Even if it meant facing the ghost of heartbreaks past. "Mr. Reeves?" A different voice called from the hallway. "Ms. Chen is ready for you now." I stood on legs that felt like they were made of wet newspaper, straightened my tie, and followed the assistant down a corridor lined with award-winning ad campaigns. Each step felt like walking toward an execution. The door to the corner office opened, and there she was. Eliza had changed, of course. The wild curls she once wore freely were now tamed into a sleek bob. Designer glasses framed those familiar eyes. The college girl who wore vintage band t-shirts and ripped jeans had transformed into a polished executive in a tailored blazer. But her smile, that slight asymmetry where the right side lifted higher than the left, that was exactly the same. Until it vanished completely. "Daniel?" The professional mask slipped for just a moment, revealing genuine shock. "Hello, Eliza," I managed, my voice steadier than I felt. "It's been a while." She recovered quickly, gesturing to the chair across from her desk. "Please, sit down." I sat, placing my portfolio on her desk. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence stretched between us, 12 years wide. "Your resume is impressive," she finally said, "all business now." "The Rainier campaign was yours?" "Yes," I nodded, grateful for the professional lifeline. The entire Pacific Northwest rebrand. I saw it. Brilliant work. Thank you. We fell into the rhythm of a standard interview. She asked about my experience, my management style, my vision for the creative department. I answered each question thoughtfully, professionally, as if we were strangers. As if I hadn't once known how she looked in the morning sunlight, or the exact sound of her laugh after too many margaritas. But beneath the professional veneer, memories kept surfacing. The way she'd once sketched my profile while I studied for finals. The time we'd gotten caught in a thunderstorm and sought shelter in a 24-hour diner, drinking coffee until sunrise. The mixtapes we'd made each other, full of songs that now felt like landmines on my streaming playlists. And why Horizon Media, she asked, the standard closing question of any interview. I had prepared for this, had a polished answer about the company's innovative approach and impressive client list. Instead, what came out was, I didn't know you'd be here. Her pen paused mid-note. Excuse me? I'm sorry, I backpedaled. That wasn't, I meant. No, please, she said, setting down her pen. Continue. I took a deep breath. I researched this company thoroughly. I knew about the founders, the client roster, the company culture. But nowhere did I find that Eliza Chen was the executive creative director. I've only been in the position for 3 months, she explained. Relocated from Chicago. Another silence fell between us. Daniel, she said finally, her voice softer. This is unexpected. You could say that. I need to be professional here. This is my department, my responsibility. I understand completely, I said, gathering my portfolio. Thank you for your time. I'll see myself out. Wait, she said, standing as I rose. That's not what I meant. I paused, portfolio clutched to my chest like a shield. Your work is exceptional, she continued. Your experience is exactly what we're looking for. It would be unprofessional of me to let our history influence a hiring decision. Our history, I repeated. The clinical term for what had once been the center of my universe. Yes, she said firmly. Our history. Which ended a long time ago. 12 years, 3 months, and approximately 16 days, I said before I could stop myself. Not that I've been counting. A flicker of something, surprise? Amusement, crossed her face. You always did have a thing for numbers. Only the important ones. She looked at me for a long moment, then glanced down at my resume again. The team will make a decision by the end of the week. We'll be in touch. I nodded, recognizing the dismissal. Thank you for the opportunity. I was almost to the door when she spoke again. It was good to see you, Daniel. I turned back. Was it? She didn't answer. I spent the next 3 days in a fog. I went through the motions of my daily routine, morning run, job search, freelance work, evening beer, but my mind remained trapped in that corner office, replaying every moment of the interview, analyzing every micro-expression on Eliza's face. Had she seemed happy to see me? Indifferent? Regretful? Had the years been as kind to her as they appeared? Was she married? The absence of a ring didn't mean anything in this day and age. Did she ever think about me, or was I just another college memory, filed away with exam all-nighters and dormitory food? On Friday afternoon, my phone rang with an unknown number. Daniel Reeves, I answered, heart suddenly pounding. Mr. Reeves, this is Tara from Horizon Media. Blue-haired Tara. Not Eliza. Hello, Tara. I'm calling to inform you that we'd like to offer you the position of creative director. I sat down hard on my couch. You would? Yes. The salary is as discussed, with benefits beginning after 90 days. Would you like to accept the offer? My mind raced. Working with Eliza. Seeing her every day. Being her subordinate. It was either the universe's cruelest joke or its most elaborate second chance. Mr. Reeves? Are you there? Yes, I said. Yes, I accept. Wonderful. We'll email the paperwork today. Ms. Chen would like you to start on Monday, if possible. Monday, I repeated. 3 days to prepare myself for a daily dose of Eliza Chen. Is that a problem? No, I said. Monday is perfect. After hanging up, I stared at my phone for a full minute before doing what any mature, professional adult would do. I called my best friend and screamed. She hired you? Lucas asked, incredulous. The one who got away? The reason you couldn't commit to anyone for years after college? That Eliza? The very same, I confirmed, pacing my apartment. And now she's my boss. This is either the best or worst thing that's ever happened to you, Lucas said. I can't decide which. That makes 2 of us. Are you going to be okay with this? Seeing her every day? I stopped pacing. I don't know. But I need this job, Luke. 6 months of unemployment has drained my savings. I can't afford principals right now. Just be careful, he warned. Office romances are complicated enough without adding your romantic origin story to the mix. Who said anything about romance? I protested. She's my boss. This is strictly professional. Lucas's laughter echoed through the phone. Sure it is, buddy. Sure it is. Monday morning arrived with torrential rain, Seattle's way of warning me, perhaps. I dressed with unusual care, choosing a charcoal suit that I knew brought out the blue in my eyes. Not for Eliza, I told myself. For confidence. For professionalism. The Horizon Media office was buzzing when I arrived. Tara greeted me with a bright smile and a company ID badge. Welcome aboard. Let me show you to your office. I followed her through the open workspace, aware of curious glances from my new colleagues. My office, my actual office, with a door and windows, was on the eastern side of the building, with a view of the Space Needle in the distance. The creative team meeting is at 10 in the main conference room, Tara informed me. Ms. Chen will introduce you then. Great, I said, setting down my messenger bag. Thank you. Left alone, I took a moment to absorb my new reality. After months of uncertainty, I had a job. A good job. In a corner office with a view. Working for the woman who had once been the center of my universe. At precisely 10 o'clock, I made my way to the conference room. It was already filled with about 15 people, chatting and sipping coffee. No sign of Eliza yet. I took a seat near the middle of the table, not wanting to appear too eager or too reluctant. A young man with an impressive beard introduced himself as the senior copywriter. A woman with vibrant red hair was the art director. Names and titles blurred together as I shook hands and exchanged pleasantries. At 10:05, the room quieted as Eliza entered. She wore a deep blue dress that I immediately recognized as the exact shade of the scarf I'd given her for her 20th birthday. Coincidence, surely. Good morning, everyone, she said, taking her place at the head of the table. Thank you for coming. As you know, we've been searching for a new creative director, and I'm pleased to introduce Daniel Reeves, who's joining us from Rainier Advertising. All eyes turned to me. I smiled and gave a small wave. Daniel brings over a decade of experience in brand development and integrated campaigns, Eliza continued, not quite meeting my eyes. His work on the Pacific Northwest tourism rebrand earned 3 Clio Awards last year. I'm confident he'll be a valuable addition to our team. She proceeded to outline the week's priorities and upcoming pitches. I took notes diligently, trying to focus on the work rather than the way her hands moved when she spoke, a habit I remembered from our college days, when she'd get excited about a new art project or a book she'd just finished. After the meeting, people filtered out, stopping to welcome me individually. Eliza remained at the table, organizing her notes. I lingered, waiting until we were alone. "Thank you for the introduction," I said. She looked up. "Of course. It's standard procedure." "Still. Thank you for the opportunity. I know it must be awkward." She sighed, setting down her tablet. "Daniel, we need to address this. This being our situation. Our history. The fact that I'm now your direct supervisor." I nodded. "I agree. I want to be clear," she said, her voice professional but gentle. "What happened between us was a long time ago. We were different people then. This is a professional relationship now. I hired you because you're talented, not because of any lingering feelings." "Lingering feelings," I repeated. "Are there any?" "Lingering, I mean." She gave me a look that I couldn't quite interpret. "That's not relevant to our working relationship." "Right," I said, feeling properly chastised. "Of course. Professional boundaries. I understand completely." "Good," she said, gathering her things. "The Westridge pitch is in 2 weeks. I'd like you to take the lead on concept development. The brief is in your email. I'll get right on it." She nodded and headed for the door, then paused. "For what it's worth, Daniel, I am glad you're here. You were always incredibly talented. The company is lucky to have you." Before I could respond, she was gone, leaving me alone with the ghost of a compliment and the faint trace of her perfume, different from what she wore in college, but somehow still distinctly Eliza. The next 2 weeks were a crash course in compartmentalization. By day, I was the consummate professional, diving into the Westridge campaign with enthusiasm, leading brainstorming sessions, and getting to know my team. By night, I was a mess of conflicting emotions, alternating between hope and resignation, nostalgia and determination to move forward. Eliza and I maintained a careful distance. Our interactions were limited to group meetings and necessary consultations about work. She was unfailingly professional, offering guidance when needed but otherwise giving me space to establish myself with the team. The creative department responded well to my leadership style. I'd always believed in fostering an environment where ideas could flow freely, where junior members felt as empowered to speak up as veterans. By the end of my first week, we had 3 solid concepts for the Westridge campaign, a luxury resort chain looking to attract younger, adventure-seeking travelers. "These are good," Eliza said during our review meeting, studying the mock-up spread across the conference table. "But they're safe. Westridge came to us because they want to break out of their traditional image. What if we flip the entire luxury concept on its head?" I suggested. "Instead of selling opulence, we sell authenticity. Luxury is a private waterfall, not a private jet." Eliza looked up, a familiar spark in her eyes, the one I'd seen countless times in college when an idea excited her. "Go on." "We showcase their properties not as escapes from life, but as gateways to a more authentic life. The luxury isn't in the thread count or the champagne service, it's in the experiences that money usually can't buy." "Like what?" "Like being the only person watching a sunrise from a mountain peak. Like learning to make traditional bread from a local baker. Like swimming in a hidden cove that doesn't appear on tourist maps." A slow smile spread across her face. "Luxury as access to authenticity, not as a shield from reality." "Exactly." She nodded, the decision made. "That's our direction. Develop it further. I want a full presentation by Friday." The team dispersed, energized by the clear vision. As I gathered my notes, Eliza approached. "That was good thinking," she said. "You always did have a knack for finding the emotional core of things." "Thank you," I said, surprised by the personal observation. She hesitated, then added, "A few of us usually go for drinks on Thursdays at Marlowe's. You should join us. It would be good for you to get to know everyone outside the office." "I'd like that," I said, trying to keep my tone casual. She nodded and walked away, leaving me to wonder if this was a professional courtesy extended to any new team member, or something more. Marlowe's was a upscale bar near the office, with